Welcome all. I am Assistant Professor Milan Patel from Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center. I am from Electrical Engineering Department. I will discuss today chapter number 3, Electric Transient, of the subject Power Quality and Management, having a subject code of 2180911 from the BE SAM 8 Electrical Engineering. So flow of contents for today's video lectures are: what is electric transient, transient system model, examples of transient system model and their responses, power system transient model, types and causes of electrical transient, numerical based on transient, examples of transient waveforms. So now G2 questions for which was asked in previous examinations, and chapter have weightage of 10%. So first question is, what is transient? Discuss the causes of transient in power system. Was asked in winter 2017, summer 2017, summer 2018 for the 7 marks. Next question, with necessary diagrams and derivations, explain the transient response of capacitor when DC voltage is applied. Asked in winter 2017 for the 7 marks. Same for inductor was asked in winter 2017 for the 7 marks. Fourth question, explain power system transient model for low frequency was asked in winter 2017, summer 2017 for the 7 marks. Now last question, explain types and causes of the transient in power system was asked in winter 2017 and summer 2018 for the 7 marks. So these are the important questions which we'll cover in this video lecture. So first of all, what is electrical transient? So transient is defined as a sub-cycle disturbance in the AC waveform that is observed as a sharp discontinuity of the waveform. Sharp discontinuity of the waveform. So in this figure we can simply see that this is a one kind of AC waveform, whether it is a voltage or current. So we can observe that this sharp discontinuity, and for the sub cycle. So this is positive cycle, this is negative cycle. So and from 0 to this point we will consider one cycle. So less than half cycle is considered as a sub cycle. Less than half cycle is considered as a sub cycle. That's why it is sharp discontinuity for less than half cycle sub cycle. Less than sub cycle is called transient. So again I repeat the definition of transient. So a sub-cycle disturbance in the AC waveform that is observed as a sharp discontinuity of the waveform. In another figure we can see that voltage spikes and transient. So this is also called voltage spike, and this is a transient because it is longer for less than sub cycle. So it is lasting less than one cycle. Sub-cycle transients are some of the most difficult issue to detect and treat. So it is the most difficult to detect and treat due to its random occurrence. So it is not uniform. Its occurrence is random. That's why it is very hard to detect it and treat it. They are difficult to detect because of their short duration also. It has short duration, that's why it is not detectable precisely. Conventional meters are not able to detect or measure them due to their limited frequency response or sampling rate. So conventional meters are not able to detect or measure them due to their limited frequency response or sampling rate. For example, if a transient occurs for 2 millisecond with frequency of 20 kilohertz then the measuring instrument must have frequency response 10 times of this 20 kilohertz, means 200 kilohertz 200 kilohertz in order to fairly describe the characteristics of the transient. For faster transient, higher sampling rates are necessary. So for measuring this kind of transient, we have to design this type of instrument, and which will be very costly. Many different terms are associated with transients such as spikes, bumps, power pulses, impulse, and surge. So another names for transients are spikes, bumps, power pulses, impulses, and surges are there. We will use the term transient to denote all sub-cycle events and describe certain characteristics of these events such as over voltage notch, noise, and ring. So transients are uh, associated with the another lots of terms like spikes, bumps, impulse, surges, rings, etc. So transient is a wide wide term which is related with another different terms. Now, why is an understanding of the transient phenomena is important? So, problems arise because of the sensitivity of the microelectronic devices and the circuits that make up the control element of the power system. And the microprocessor or microcontroller is the nerve center of every present day manufacturing or commercial facilities, and also medical electronic instruments used in healthcare facilities are becoming more sophisticated and at the same time increasingly susceptible to. Why is an understanding of the transient phenomena important? Large electromagnetic devices such as transformers and motors are practically impressive to the effect of the transient, but the mentioned above equipments like microelectronic device, microcontrollers, microprocessors, medical equipments, etc., are very sensitive. That's why it is sensible by the transient occurrence. So bad effect of transient will be impacted on this equipment which are very sensitive. That's why it is very important to suppress this kind of transient in power system for this sensitive equipment's proper work. So now again, most IMP theory, transient system model. So in this, steady state systems are the opposite of the transient systems. So we know that the steady state system are the opposite of the transient system. In steady state, the operation of the power system is characterized by the fundamental frequency or by some low frequency harmonic of the fundamental frequency. So we know that in steady state condition, the operation of power system is characterized by the fundamental frequency, and the three passive elements or parameters of the power systems are resistance R, inductance L, and the capacitance C. Determine how the steady state system will respond when under the influence of an applied voltage. So the behavior of RLC directly depend on the applied voltage. Now this situation is somewhat analogous to the steady state model in which thermal energy supplied is equal to energy stored plus energy stored plus energy dissipated. And by using traditional law of physics, the temperature rise of the device can be accurately calculated. So we know that the total energy supplied in any system is given by the sum of the energy stored in the particular system plus the energy dissipated by this system. Now, however, in a transient state, traditional law of equilibrium do not apply. We also know that in transient state, the traditional law of equilibrium do not apply. So, the circuit model of transient electrical system will appear considerably different from the steady state model. So we know that in transient state, the system figure will not be equal to the steady state system figure. So in this transient system, the passive parameters RLC are still major determinant of the transient response, but their effect on the transient can change with the duration of the transient with change with the duration of the transient. So the effect of the transient on the RLC is depend on the duration of the time period. Now, in an electrical system, inductance and capacitance are the energy storing elements that contribute to the oscillatory nature of the transient. Okay, so inductance and the capacitance have the characteristics of the storing energy. Inductor will store the energy in form of current, and the equation for it 1 half Li square. And for the capacitor, the energy storing equation is 1 half Cv square. So capacitor will store the energy in form of charge. So these inductance and capacitor are the major reasons for the oscillatory nature of the transient in the power system. Now the resistance is the energy dissipating elements that allows the transient to damp out the decay to the steady state condition. Decay to the steady state condition. So, resistance is the energy dissipating element. We know that the energy dissipating element is the resistance. Then the equation of energy dissipation is I square R, I square R. So in figure 3.1 illustrate an electrical power source feeding a resistive inductive load. For example, it is a motor via circuit breaker S and transformer T. In figure 3.2 is the steady state representation of the power circuit, and the figure 3.3 will show us the transient model of the same circuit. In the transient model, the capacitance across the poles of the circuit breakers and the capacitance of the power lines feeding the motor and the capacitance of the source and the motor windings become significant. So consider figure 3.1. This is the power system consisting of the source, circuit breaker, transformer and a load. So this load is RL type. So we consider it as a motor load, AC motor load, because the AC motor winding mainly consists of resistance and inductance. This is the transformer, this is circuit breaker, and this is the source. So this is our basic schematic diagram for the power system consisting transformer, load, source and circuit breaker. So this is the basic schematic diagram for this power system. Now figure 3.1, figure 3.1, sorry 3.2 for the low frequency representation of the circuit, low frequency representation of the circuit which is shown in figure 3.1. So this figure is the low frequency representation. Low frequency representation, another name for this is steady state representation of the figure 3.1. Figure 3.1 steady state representation is shown in figure 3.2. So this is the steady state representation of the previous figure. It is mainly consisting of source Ls. Ls means source inductance in series with the source. Again L1 line inductance, L1 again it is series with this source, and this is the S circuit breaker. L2 is again line inductance. So L1 is before the circuit breaker and L2 is after the circuit breaker, line inductance. LT transformer inductance. Again LT is the transformer inductance. Again it is in series with the line inductance. And R is a load resistance. Again it is in series with this transformer inductance. L is our load inductance. Again it is in series with. So all the parameters are connected in series in the steady state representation of the previous figure. Note source line and transformer resistance are neglected. Source resistance, line resistance, transformer resistance are neglected. So this is the steady state model of the particular system. So now this is the transient system model of the figure 3.1. Once the transient model is created, some of the elements may be symmetrically eliminated depending on their magnitude, the transient duration, etc. etc. Now, some important points to be considered while solving electrical transient model problem. First, determine the total transient model, then remove elements in the model that are relevant to the problem at hand. Second one, develop a mathematical model of the transient circuit and then derive a solution for the needed parameters. So this is the transient system model. This is the transient system model in which this is the source, this is the Ls means source inductance. Now in parallel to Ls, Cs is there. Cs is added at parallel to the Ls, and Cs is nothing but the source capacitance. Source capacitance. Again the L1 is the line inductance, and one capacitor is connected at the shunt with the L1. So C1 is the capacitance for the line. Capacitance for the line for this portion L1. For this portion L1. Now this is the circuit breaker, and this is the capacitor CA is connected parallel to the circuit breaker, and it is called switch capacitance or circuit breaker capacitance. Now this is again L2 line inductance, and this C2 is parallel with this L2, and it is called line capacitance for the L2, line capacitance for the L2. Now again the LM is connected parallel between the transformer and the ground, LM. So LM stands for transformer magnetizing inductance. Transformer magnetizing inductance is parallel with this transformer So we have to remember that all the capacitors are in parallel except this LM. So LM is also in parallel with this circuit. So LT is nothing but transformer inductance. CT is parallel with the LT, means capacitance of the transformer capacitance. Now this is RL is our motor load, and the capacitor is parallel with this motor load, and it is called C, load capacitance. Same note, source line and transformer resistances are neglected in this figure. So this is the power system transient model or system transient model. So this is the transient model of the given circuit, mainly consisting of the source and inductances and capacitance and the load. So this is the power system transient system model. And most IMP theory may be asked in GTU for the 7 marks. It was asked in many examination previously. So this is our 7 marks question, 3.2 transient system model. Let's see in GTU questions. Uh, so question number 4. Explain power system transient model for low frequency for the 7 marks, asked in two examinations. So exam wise, this is the IMP topic. Now next topic is examples of transient models and their responses. So this is also IMP topic regarding to GTU examination. So some examples of the transient models and the transient response are included in this section, and the examples are simple, but none of the less are intended to provide the reader with a better grasp on the basics of the electrical transient. So the examples are basics, but most important to the understanding wise. Now first, application of DC voltage to a capacitor. So now application of DC voltage to a capacitor. So in figure it shows that the voltage source, DC voltage source, is connected with the switch, and the switch is directly connected with the resistance and the capacitor in the series. This IC will show us the capacitor current IC. This is the voltage source having a voltage of V. So V is our applied DC voltage. VC is the voltage across the capacitance. IC is capacitor current. R is total circuit resistance. S is a switch. So this is the figure for the application of a DC voltage to an RC circuit. And this is the graphical representation of the current IC and the voltage VC across the capacitor C. So this is the graph of VC, means the capacitor voltage. This is the graph of IC and capacitor current. So we examine that the graph of VC is exponentially increasing manner, and the graph of IC is in decreasing manner, exponentially decreasing manner. The graph is of VC or IC versus time, and this is the T is equal to 0, switch closing time. So now in figure 3.4 depicts a capacitor to which a DC voltage V is suddenly applied, and the figure 3.5 represent in graphical form of transient response of the current and voltage across the capacitor. So figure 3.4 is for the simple application of the DC voltage to RC circuit, and the figure 3.5 is the transient response of the capacitor voltage and capacitor current while applying the DC voltage source. Now, the expression for VC and IC assume that the capacitor has a zero initial charge. The expressions for the VC and IC assume that the capacitor has zero initial charge, and the equation is like that. VC capacitor voltage VC is V means our source voltage in bracket 1 minus e raised to minus t by RC. E raised to minus t by RC. This is equation number 3.1. So capacitor voltage is given by source voltage in bracket 1 minus e raised to minus t by RC. Same for capacitor current is given by IC is equal to V by R. V by R means V divided by R is our current, steady state current, into e raised to minus t by RC. E raised to minus t by RC. So this is our equation number 3.2 for the capacitor current. So when we consider the 1 minus e raised to minus t by RC term, then it will for exponentially increasing term, exponentially increasing, and e raised to minus t by RC for the exponentially decreasing term, where the RC is the time constant T for the RC series circuit, where the RC is the time constant T of the resistance capacitance RC circuit and is expressed in the second, as expressed in seconds, and the time constant is the time it would take for an exponentially decaying parameter to reach a value equal to 36.79 percentage of the initial value, 36.79 of the initial value. So this is the explained by noting the that the parameter would be reduced to a value given by 1 divided by e raised to 1 or 0.3679 of the initial value. So this point, this crossing point is considered 36.79 of IC. So IC value is decreased and final value of the IC is 37 percentage. Round figure I will consider 37 percentage of IC will occur at that point, and increasing value of VC is 63 percentage of VC, 63% of VC will occur at this crossing point. So in a time interval equal to 2 time constant, in a time interval equal to 2 time constant, the parameter will be reduced to 1 by e square, or 13.5% of the initial value. After 5 times constant, the parameter will be reduced by 0.67% of the initial value, because it will given by 1 divided by e raised to 5, 1 divided by e raised to 5. As time increases, the value of e raised to minus t by t becomes smaller and smaller and approaches to the 0. So as the time will increase, the value of e raised to minus t by t will become very small and approaches to the 0. So in this example, the current through the capacitor is given by V by R at time t is equal to 0, and at time t is equal to t, the current will diminish to a value of 0.3679 V by R, 0.3679 V by R at time t is equal to 2t, the current will be 0.1353 multiplied by V by R, and so on for the all the time. So in the same example, if the capacitance has an initial voltage of positive V0, in the same example, if the capacitance has the same initial voltage of plus V0, then the equation will become like this: Vc is equal to V minus V in bracket V minus V0 e raised to minus t by RC. So for the V0 initial voltage, the equation will become 3.3. Vc is equal to V minus bracket V minus V0 e raised to minus t by RC. And for the IC current, capacitor current, in square bracket V minus V0 divided by R, V minus V0 divided by R, square bracket over e raised to minus t by RC, minus t by RC. So this is the equation for the particular uh, initial voltage V0. So this is the example of the DC voltage applied to the RC circuit. DC voltage applied to the RC circuit. Now second application of DC voltage to an inductor. So in this the DC voltage is directly applied to the R and L, which are connected in series. So voltage source, DC voltage source is connected to the RL series load with the switch. So V is DC voltage, PL is inductor voltage, L is inductor current, R is circuit resistance, and S is a switch. Now, as discussed earlier for capacitor, the figure is also same. The figure is also same, or graph of the inductor voltage and inductor current is the same as voltage, but only change is that the term will be interchange. The term will be interchange. So this is the exponentially decreased graph. Exponentially decreased graph, and it is of VL, inductor voltage VL. So inductor voltage value will be gradually or exponentially decreasing manner, and the inductor current value will exponentially increasing. So this crossing point is nothing but 0.37 of this VL, 0.37 of VL, and 0.63 of IL, 0.63 of IL, 0.63 of IL. And this is the time t is equal to 1 upon E. T is equal to 1 upon E. So this is the first time interval at t is equal to 1 by E. The value of inductor voltage will be 0.37 V, means 0.37 applied voltage, and the inductor current value is 0.63 of total current V by R, 0.63 of total current V by R. Now we will see the equation for the. Now in figure 3.6 shows an inductor with R representing the resistance of the connecting wires and internal resistance of the inductor, and the variation of the voltage and the current in the inductor are shown in the graph in figure 3.7, and mathematically it is expressed by VL is equal to V e raised to minus t by RL, T R divided by L, where R by L is the value of tau, value of L by R is the value of tau, and it is the and L by R is the time constant for the RL series circuit, and the inductor current value is given by V divided by R in bracket 1 minus e raised to minus t R by L, minus t R by L. So this is the value of inductor voltage and inductor current for the DC voltage applied to the RL series circuit. So at time t is equal to 0, the voltage across the inductor is V. At time t is equal to 0, the inductor voltage is given by V. In an ideal, inductor current cannot change instantly, so the applied voltage appears across the inductor at time t is equal to infinity. Voltage across the inductor is 0. Voltage across the inductor is 0. We can simply see that at time it is equal to infinity, the inductor voltage is nearly equal to the 0, and at time t is equal to 0, the inductor voltage is given by V. Inductor voltage is given by V, applied voltage. Same for the inductor current. At t is equal to 0, the inductor current is 0. Inductor current IL is 0 at t is equal to 0. And at t is equal to infinity, the inductor current is maximum. The inductor current is maximum, and the value of maximum current is given by V divided by R. So, uh, voltage across the inductor is 0. The current through the ideal inductor at the time t is equal to 0 and at time t is equal to infinity, the current through the inductor is equal to V by R. V by R is the maximum current flowing through the RL series circuit. For an inductive circuit, the time constant T in seconds is equal to L by R. Time constant for the RL series circuit is given by L by R, and the expression for the VL and IL becomes VL is equal to V e raised to minus T by T, e raised to minus T by T, or we can also consider tau. We can also consider tau, where value of T is given by L by R. And for IL is equal to V divided by R, 1 minus e raised to minus T by tau or T. So capital T is for time constant and T is actual time. Same for here. Same for here. Okay. So this is the RL series circuit application of DC voltage at the inductor. Now, the significance of the time constant T in both capacitive and inductive circuit is worth emphasizing. The time constant reflects how quickly a circuit can recover when subjected to the transient application of the voltage and current. So consider equation number 3.1, which indicates how voltage across a capacitor would build up when subjected to a sudden application of a voltage V and a larger time constant RC or L by R, the slower the rate of voltage increase across the capacitor. If we plot voltage versus time characteristics for the various values of the time constant T, the family of graphs will appear as shown in figure 3.8. In inductive circuit, the time constant indicates how quickly current can build up through an inductor when a switch is closed, and also how slowly the current will decay when the inductive circuit is open. So the time constant is an important parameter in the transient analysis of power line disturbances. Power lines disturbances. So the LC combination, where it is a series or parallel configuration, is an oscillatory circuit. When the combination of LC will consider whether it is a series or parallel, the response of its will be oscillatory form, which is in absence of resistance as a damping agent will oscillate indefinitely. So because all electric circuits have resistance associated with them, the oscillation eventually die out. Due to the resistance, and the frequency of the oscillations is called natural frequency f0. Natural frequency f0, and for LC circuit it is given by 1 upon 2 pi under root LC. So natural frequency is given by 1 upon 2 pi under root LC. So this is the graphical representation of the variation of Vc with time constant RC. So from this figure we can examine that this is TC1, time constant 1, less than time constant 2, less than time constant 3, less than time constant 4. So this is the time constant in ascending order. In ascending order, as the order of the time constant increases, the value of the time constant also increases. So from figure we can see that the at TC4 means maximum value of the time constant, the exponential graph of the or curvature of the graph is lesser. As the value of time constant decreases, the curvature of the graph increases. The curvature of the graph increases. For the minimum time constant Tc1, the maximum curvature of the graph is there. So we can say that as the value of the time constant increases, the value of time constant increases, the graph of Vc or Vl will become nearly equal to the linear. So exponentially term decreases. Now this is the waveform for the oscillations of the capacitor voltage Vc versus time when the LC circuit is closed on a circuit of a DC voltage V. So LC circuit is directly applied by the DC voltage source V, then the oscillation in voltage of capacitor will occur as shown in this figure. So this is the figure show us the oscillation of the capacitor voltage when LC circuit is closed with a DC voltage source V. So in the LC circuit, the voltage across the capacitor might appear as shown in figure 3.9. The oscillations are described by the equation which gives the voltage across the capacitance as Vc is equal to V minus in bracket V minus Vco into cos omega 0 t, where the value of V is applied voltage, Vco is initial voltage across the capacitor, and omega 0 is equal to 2 pi FO, and the value of FO is given by natural frequency is given by 1 upon 2 pi under root LC. So this is the value of Vc, and this is the voltage across the capacitance when the LC circuit is supplied by the DC voltage source. Now depending on the value of the polarity of Vco, a voltage of 3 times the applied voltage may be generated across the capacitor. And the capacitor also draws a considerable amount of oscillating currents, and the oscillations occur at the characteristics frequency which can be high depending on the value of L and C. So a combination of factors could result in capacitor or inductor failure. Most power systems have some combinations of L and C present. Capacitance might be that of the power factor correction device in an electric system, and the inductance might be due to the power transformer feeding an electrical system. So the oscillation shown in this figure is directly proportional to the value of L and C. So the graph of this oscillation is the main uh, main mainly depend on the value of L and C. Now next most IMP topic and GTU question is power system transient model. So we will see question number 4. Explain the power system transient model. So in this question we have to write this theory, and we have to draw these figures. So power system transient model: at power frequencies, the electrical system may be represented by the lumped parameter of RL and C as shown in figure 3.10 as figure. So this is the lumped parameter representation of the power system component, in which this is the supplied voltage power lines to the transformer T, and this transformer is connected with the load 1, load 2, motor, capacitor bank, etc, etc. So this is the distribution transformer. This is the distribution transformer which will distribute the load. Now this another figure is for RL, LL, LT, RT. RL means line resistance, line inductance, line transformer, sorry, transformer inductance, transformer resistance. Same for this load, load 1 resistance, load 1 inductance, load 2 resistance, load 2 inductance, low motor resistance, motor inductance, and capacitor as it is. This is the capacitance for the capacitor bank. So this is the lumped parameter represent of the power system component. So uh, the figure 3.10 shows a facility power system fed by 10 miles of power lines from a utility substation, where the power is transformed from 12.47 kilowatt to 480 volt. 12.47 kilowatt to 480 volt to supply various loads, including a power factor correction capacitor banks, load 1, load 2, and motor, etc. etc. So reasonable accuracy is obtained by representing the power system components by their predominant electrical characteristics as shown in 3.10. Such a representation simplifies the calculation at low frequency. So this is our actual schematic diagram, and this is the power system model, power system transient model, in which we will consider the R, L, and C value for the all the equipments, and to obtain higher accuracy, as the frequency goes up, the constant are divided up and grouped to form the pi or T configuration shown in figure 3.11. So as the value of frequency increases, we have to divide our figure into pi or T configuration. Pi or T configuration as shown in figure. So this is the representation of the power lines in pi method. So pi representation of the power lines, in which this is the line inductance L, and this is the C by 2 C by 2 shunt capacitance. Shunt capacitance, V in the input voltage, V out is the output voltage. Same for the T representation of the power lines. This is the input voltage, output voltage. C become as it is, shunt capacitance C is as it is, and the line inductance is divided by 2 both the side. Line inductance is divided by both the side, and this is the line capacitance divided by, or shunt capacitance is divided by 2. So this is figure 3.11 representation of the power lines at high frequencies, where L is the total inductance and C is the total capacitance of the power line. So the computation gets tedious, but more accurate results are obtained by using the figure number 3.11. Yet at high frequencies, the power system should be represented by the distributed parameters as shown in figure 3.12, as shown in figure 3.12. So these are the lumped parameters. Now the parameters are divided in distributed manners. So distributed constant representation of the power lines at high frequencies, where C, L, and R are electric constant for unit distance. So small RLC, small RLC given in this figure is for particular unit distance. The value of capacitor, inductor, and resistance is stands for particular unit distance. So this is the distributed constant representation of the power lines at the higher frequencies. So in figure 3.12, RL and C represent R resistance, inductance, and capacitance. respectively for the unit distance, and the reason for the distributed parameter approach is to produce result that more accurately represent the response of the power system to high frequency transient phenomena So this is the distributed constant type represent of the power lines for the better or more accurate represent of the response of the power system at the higher frequency. So we will use this kind of arrangement of the power lines at the higher frequency applications. So now the wavelength of the periodic waveform is given by lambda is equal to c by f, where the c is the velocity of the light in vacuum. The velocity of light in vacuum and is equal to 300 multiplied by 10 raised to 6 meter per second meter per second or 186400 miles per second 186400 miles per second. For 60 hertz power frequency signal, the lambda is equal to 3106 miles. For a 1 megahertz signal, lambda is equal to 393 feet. So this is the equation for the periodic wavelength of the periodic waveform. In for the c is the light velocity, and f is the standard frequency. All the alternating currents electrical signals travel on a conducting medium such as overhead power lines or underground cables. When a signal reaches to the end of the wiring, it reflects back. Depending on the polarity and the phase angle of the reflected wave, the net amplitude of the composite waveform can have a value between 0 and twice the value of the incident wave. Typically at 1/4 wavelength and odd multiples of the 1/4 wavelength, the reflected wave becomes equal in value but opposite in the sign. So the incident and the reflected waves cancel out each other and leaving zero net signal. And cable in essence acts like high impedance circuit. So the transient phenomena occurring at high frequencies, however, even comparatively short length of wire might be too long to be effective. So the even comparatively short length of wire might be too long to be effective. So several quantities characterize the behavior of the power lines as far as transient response is concerned, and one important quantity is the characteristics impedance, and it is given by Z0 is equal to L by C. Z0 is equal to L by C. Another name for L by C is surge impedance. So this is the characteristics impedance Z0. This is the most IMP term. Z0 is equal to L by C, characteristics impedance. In a power lines that has no losses, the voltage and the current are linked by characteristics impedance Z0. In a power lines that has no losses, the voltage and the current are liked by the characteristics impedance Z0. Now another important characteristics of a power system is the natural frequency, and the value of natural frequency f0 is given by 1 upon 2 pi under root LC. 1 upon 2 pi under root LC. So this is the natural frequency which allows us to calculate the frequency of the disturbance produced in the LC circuit when it is excited by a voltage or current signal. And why is this important? The transient phenomena are very often oscillatory. And the frequencies encountered are higher than the power frequency. So by knowing the circuit constant L and C, the amplitude of the exciting voltage and current, the response of the transient circuit might be determined with the reasonable accuracy. So when two circuits or power lines are connected together, the characteristics impedance of the individual circuit determines how much of the transient voltage or current will be reflected back and what portion will be refracted or passed through the junction to the second circuit. So it is directly proportional to the circuit characteristic impedance. So this is why in transient modeling impedance mismatch should be careful managed to minimize large voltage or current buildups. So this is the most IMP thing. Characteristics equation must be characteristic impedance must be same for the two connected power lines. So it must be required to having same characteristics impedance of two power lines which are connected to each other for the transient purpose. And again natural frequency is given by 1 upon 2 pi under root L C. Now, because any electrical signal transmission line has inductance and capacitance associated with it, it is also has a natural frequency, and the phenomena of resonance occurs when the capacitive and inductive reactances of the circuit become equal. So we all know that at natural frequency f0 is equal to 1 upon 2 pi under root LC, the XL and XC value means means inductive reactance and capacitive reactance is equal. That's why the value of current is maximum at that point. Resonance in a parallel circuit is characterized by high impedance at the resonant frequency, as shown in figure 3.13. 3.13. So figure 3.13 is parallel resonance circuit and impedance graph indicating highest impedance at the frequency of resonance. So this is the parallel resonance circuit. Parallel resonance circuit in which this is the input signal, this is the output signal, this is the L parallel to the C, L parallel to the C. So the value of L and C is setted for the resonance circuit, for the parallel resonance condition, at where XL and XC is equal to same. Value of XL and value of XC is same, and this is the graph of the Z impedance versus frequency. Impedance versus frequency. Impedance versus frequency. So as the value of frequency increases, the value of impedance also increases. Impedance value is also increases. At some point, the maximum impedance value is occurred. Maximum impedance value is occurred. So this is the point f0 means natural frequency 1 upon 2 pi under root LC. The maximum impedance will occur. The maximum impedance will occur in parallel resonance condition for f is equal to f0 means natural frequency. So again by increasing frequency greater than the natural frequency, the value of impedance decreases. The value of impedance decreases is shown in the graph. So this is the parallel resonance circuit and impedance graph indicating highest impedance at the frequency of the response. So where the velocity of the propagation v indicates how fast a signal may travel in a medium, and it is given by v is equal to 1 upon mu e. 1 upon mu e, where the mu is the permeability of the medium and epsilon is the dielectric permittivity of the medium. So mu is the permeability and epsilon is the permittivity. For example, in vacuum the permeability is 4 pi into 10 raised to minus 7. For vacuum, the value of the permeability is given by 4 pi into 10 raised to minus 7, and the dielectric permittivity is epsilon is equal to 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12 farad per meter, and the permeability is given in Henry per meter. So the value of V is given by 1 upon under root 4 pi 10 raised to minus 7 multiplied by 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12. So this whole term is in under root. So approximately answer for this is given by 300 into 10 raised to 6 meter per second. Meter per second. So this is the velocity of the light. So for other media such as insulated cables, cable contained in magnetic shields, conduits, the velocity of the propagation will be slower as these items are no longer characterized by the free air quantity qualities of mu and epsilon. So the velocity of the propagation is directly proportional to the mu and epsilon for the particular medium. Mu and epsilon or means permeability and permittivity of the particular medium. The quantities Z0, F0 and V are important for examining the transient phenomena. So for examination of the transient, three quantities are most important: Z0 characteristics, impedance, F0 natural frequency, V velocity of the propagation of the wave. Velocity of the propagation of the wave are important phenomena because high speed high frequency events can travel through the conductive path, means wire, or may be coupled to adjacent circuit by propagation through a dielectric medium. So however effective the path is at coupling, the transient depends on this factor. So these three factors are depend on the how effectiveness of the transient. So transient effect is characterized by the Z0, F0 and the V. Now we will see the last question of this chapter. Question number 5: explain types and causes of the transient in the power system, which was asked in winter 2017, summer 2018 for the 7 marks. So types and causes of the transients. So transients are disturbances that occur for a very short duration, less than a half cycle or less than sub cycle, and the electric circuit is quickly restored to the original operation provided no damage has occurred due to the transient. So according to a definition provided by the IEEE 11592 019 standards, there are two types of transients are there. First one is impulsive and second one is oscillatory. First one is impulsive and second one is oscillatory. So main two types of transients are there, impulsive and oscillatory. So a sudden and non-power frequency change in the voltage or current or both, which is unidirectional in polarity, is classified as an impulsive transient. Is classified as an impulsive transient and it is called as impulsive. An example of impulsive transient would be a lightning transient or electrostatic discharge. Lightning transient or electrostatic discharge is the examples of the impulsive transient. Now, conversely, a sudden and non-power frequency change in the voltage or current or both, which is bidirectional in polarity, is classified as an oscillatory transient. Is classified as oscillatory transient. An example cause may be a capacitor bank energizing or cable switching. So capacitor bank energizing and cable switching is the type of the oscillatory type transient. So this is the types of transient. First one is impulsive and second one is oscillatory. So in impulsive transient we can simply see that it is only unidirectional. It is only unidirectional, means only one half cycle consisting a transient disturbance. So in impulsive, this is the figure for the impulsive transient. Now oscillatory transient. So this is the unidirectional and oscillatory transients are bidirectional. So we can simply see that this is positive transient and negative transients both are occur in the this waveform, so both bidirectional transients are present in this waveform. That's why this is called oscillatory type transient. Oscillatory type transient. An electrical transient is a cause and effect phenomena. For transients to occur, there must be a cause. While there may be many, this section will look at some of the more common causes of the transient. So causes of transient, the main uh, causes are: first, atmospheric phenomena. Atmospheric phenomena consisting lightning, solar flares, geomagnetic disturbances, etc., etc. So these are the atmospheric phenomena. Second one is switching loads on or off. Switching loads on or off. Third one is interruption of fault current. Interruption of fault currents. Fourth one is switching of power lines. Fourth one is switching of power lines. And third one is sorry, last one, fifth one is switching of capacitor banks. Switching of capacitor banks. So these are the main causes of the transient in the power system. So first, consider the first cause, atmospheric cause. So overpotential surge due to lightning discharge is the most common natural cause of the electric equipment failure, and the phenomena of the lightning strike can be described as follow. So in this lightning strike, a negative charge build up on the cloud as indicated in the figure 3.1. So negative charge is built up in the clouds. Negative charge is built up in the cloud, and we can see that at the earth's surface positive charge is there. Positive charge is there, and this positive charge will attract this negative charge which are present in the clouds. So voltage difference of the hundred of millions of volt can exist between the cloud and the earth due to the opposing charge. When the voltage exceeds the breakdown potential of the air, and it is 3 into 10 raised to 6 volt per meter, 3 into 10 raised to 6 volt per meter, the lightning flash occur. Lightning flash occur. So here this negative charge and this positive charge will create the potential difference between this point. So this is the negative charge and this is the positive charge. That's why voltage difference will occur. And we know the breakdown capacity of the air is 3 into 10 raised to 6 volt per meter. So the value of breakdown for the air is 3 into 10 raised to 6 volt per meter. As the value of this potential created between this plus and minus charge means earth and cloud will become greater than 3 into 10 raised to 6 meter per volt per meter, then the flash occur. So this flash will occur when the potential gradient between the cloud and earth will become greater than the 3 into 10 raised to 6 volt per meter. So this is the main reason behind the lightning. So the exact physics of the lightning phenomena will not be discussed here, as it is sufficient to know that the lightning strike can be typically produce a voltage rise in about 1 or 2 microseconds that can decline to a value of 50% of the peak voltage in approximately 50 to 100 microseconds. A typically lightning impulse wave might appear as shown in the figure 3.15. 3.15. So this is the figure of lightning impulse waveform characterized by the rise of 90% value in the 1.2 microsecond and a fall of 50% value in 50 second. So we can simply see that for 1.2 microsecond the rise of 90 percentage value only in 1.2 microseconds due to the transient in lightning. Due to the lightning so due to lightning, the 90 percentage of the total value is achieved in only in 1.2 microsecond, and again it is decreased at 50 percentage for 50 microsecond, and it will take 50 microsecond for decreasing 0.5 voltage. A common misconception is that direct lightning strike is needed to produce destructive overvoltage, and in fact it is rare that a failure in an electrical system is due to a lightning strike. So more often the electrical and magnetic fields caused by the indirect lighting discharge inductive voltage in the power lines that result in device failure. So the direct lightning stroke is not harmful, but the indirect lightning is the main cause for the device failure or as other harmful effect. Also, the lightning discharge current flowing through the earth creates a potential difference between the power lines and the ground, and in extreme cases cause equipment failure. So this is the atmospheric cause of the lightning for the transient occurrence. For the protection of from the lightning strike, isolation transformers provide limited protection from the lightning strike because the lightning is the short duration high frequency phenomena. A portion of the lightning energy will couple directly from the primary winding to the secondary winding of the transformer through the interwinding capacitance. And another way to protect the power system with lightning arrestor. With lightning arrestor, when properly applied, can provide protection against the lightning introduced low voltages. Arrestor have a well defined conduction voltage below which they are ineffective. So this voltage depend on the rating of the arrestor itself. For optimum protection, the arrestor voltage should be matched to the lightning impulse withstand of the equipment being protected. So it is shown in figure table 3.1. So this is the table for the typically surge arrestor protection characteristics. This is the arrestor rating, kilovolt RMS value of the voltage. This is the maximum continuous operating voltage, kilovolt in RMS. Again 1 second temporary over voltage in kilovolt RMS. Maximum front of the wave protective level, kilovolt crest. Crest means peak. So this is the table for the typical surge arrestor protective characteristics. Now second cause is the switching loads on or off. Switching load on or off. So when discussing inductive coupling due to transient current, the loop area of the susceptible circuit should not be overlooked. Should not be overlooked. And the larger the area of the loop, the higher the noise voltage introduced in and susceptible circuit. And in figure 3.16, the voltage introduced in circuit 2 depends on the magnetic field linking with the circuit. So in figure 3.16, the voltage introduced is circuit 2 due to current in circuit 1. The voltage depends on the loop area of the circuit and approximately between the circuit. So in figure, this is the circuit 1 and current is flowing through this circuit, and due to this circuit the magnetic field is produced. Magnetic field is produced, and this magnetic field is linked with this circuit number 2. This circuit number 2, and this is the portion highlighted is the total flux linking circuit with the circuit 2, and the noise voltage induced in the circuit 2 are proportional to the loop area. To the loop area. So far we have examined the effect of switching power to loads during normal operation. Switching power of all generates transient due to the fact that all devices carrying electrical current have inductance L associated with them. Associated with them. And the current flowing in an inductive device cannot abruptly change when the circuit is open. When the circuit is open. So the voltage produced in an electrical device due to the sudden change of current is given by E is equal to L di by dt, where E is the induced voltage, L is the inductor value, di by dt is the rate of change of current with respect to time. So for example, if 50 ampere current flowing through a coil, inductance L is equal to 20 millihenry drops to 0 in 2 milliseconds, then the voltage generated across the coil is given by E is equal to L. The value of L is given by 20 millihenry means 20 into 10 raised to minus 3 di by dt. Di by dt means di is our 50 minus 0, 50 minus 0, so di by dt is 50 divided by dt, time period is 2 milliseconds, so divided by 2 into 10 raised to minus 3, so our answer will be 50, sorry, 500 volt, 500 volt. So this is the uh, induced voltage with this example, with this example. So this is the switching loads on off, switching loads on off. Now third one is interruption of the fault circuit. Third one is interruption of the fault circuit. Now, interruption of the fault circuit, another cause for the transient. During fault conditions, large current are generated in electrical system and the fault current are interrupted by the overcurrent devices such as circuit breaker or fuses. So, in figure 3.17 shows a simplified electrical circuit where the electric fault is cleared by the circuit breaker. Electric fault is cleared by circuit breaker. C represent C represent the capacitance of the electrical system up to the point where the overcurrent device is present. Overcurrent device is present, and interruption of the fault current generates the overvoltage impulse in the electrical system, and the magnitude of the voltage depend upon the amount of the fault current and the speed of the fault current and the speed with which the fault is interrupted. So it is mainly depend upon the fault current and the interruption time or interruption speed of the fault. So older air circuit breaker with slower speed of interruption produce lower impulse voltage than vacuum or SF6 breaker, than SF6 or vacuum circuit breaker, which operate at much faster speed during a fault. While using vacuum or SF6 technology to clear a fault quickly and thereby limit damage to equipment is important advantages, a price paid by the generation of the higher level voltage transient. Higher level voltage transient. As the speed of interruption of the fault is less, the higher transient are introduced in the power system. So this is the electrical fault at the output side of the circuit breaker, and which is cleared by this circuit breaker. So fault will occur at this fault is occur at this point, and this circuit breaker will clear the fault, and the value of transient is directly depend upon the this fault current, directly proportional to the fault current and the time taken by this circuit breaker to clear the time. So this is the interruption of the fault circuit. Now this is the over voltage transient due to the fault current interruption. So this is the over voltage transient due to the fault current interruption. So this is our half cycle, pure half cycle. This is the interruption of fault occur at this point. Interruption of fault will occur at this point, and due to this interruption, this over voltage transient due to the fault current interruption accompanied by the oscillation at the natural frequency formed by L and C. So this is the occur at the natural frequency L and C. This is the positive half cycle, negative half cycle, and this is again positive half cycle, and this is the over voltage transient due to the occur at the natural frequency L and C. So and interruption of fault will occur at this point, and this is the waveform of the Vmax, means voltage versus the time, voltage versus time. Now another one is capacitor bank switching. Capacitor bank switching. So one of the more common cause of electrical transient is switching of capacitor bank in power system, and electrical utilities switch capacitor banks during peak load hours to offset the lagging kVAr demand of the load and the leading kVARs drawn by the capacitor banks offset the lagging kVAR demand of the load, reducing the net kVA load on the circuit. So, and a sharp reduction in the voltage is followed by a voltage rise which decays by oscillation at the frequency determined by the inductance and the capacitance of the circuit. Several cases of power system component failure, the malfunctioning due to the capacitor bank switching operations have been seen by the author, and typically the voltage rise due to the capacitor switching operation can be attained value of the 1.5 to 2 times of the nominal voltage, and the power equipment can be withstand only a limited number of the exposures to such rise of the voltage magnitude, and with the time the insulation system of the such device is weakened and the point is reached when the device can fail. So in one particular instance, two power disturbance distribution transformers failed at the same time. The cause was traced to large capacitor bank switching operation by the utility at a substation located adjacent to the affected facility. So one particular instance, two power distribution transformers failed at the same time. The cause was the trace that the two large capacitor bank switching operation occur at the same utility affected by this facility. So it is very major problem, capacitor bank switching at the same time for the equipment failures. This is the transient due to the motor starting. The motor had input capacitor for power factor correction, and the motor and the capacitor were tuned or on simulation based. So this is the transient occur at the motor starting. This is the waveform for the transient occur at the motor starting, and motor had the input capacitor for the power factor correction, and the motor and capacitor were tuned simultaneously. So now last topic is examples of the transient waveform. Examples of the transient waveform. So first example is motor start transient. We know that the motor will draw larger current during the starting period due to the minimum torque. The motor will take more current, and this is the reason for the transient. This is the reason for the transient occurrence, and this is the waveform of the voltage for the motor starting time period, for the motor starting time period. Now next one is power factor correction capacitor switching transient. So this is the figure for the power factor correction capacitor switching transient. This is the figure for the power system transient capacitor switching. So it shows the transient voltage response at the main electrical switchboard for a commercial building due to the capacitor bank switching by the utility. Now third one is medium voltage capacitor bank switching transient. Medium voltage capacitor bank switching transient. So figure 3.21. So the voltage waveform at the 12.47 kilowatt volt power system during switching in of 5 megavolt ampere reactive capacitor bank. The voltage to transformer ratio is 60 to 1. So this is the figure for waveform figure for the medium voltage capacitor bank switching. This is only for your knowledge. It will not ask in examination. So fourth one is the voltage notch due to the uninterruptible power source unit UPS system. So this graph for UPS system transient, the transient produced due to the UPS system. And the last one is the neutral voltage swing. Neutral voltage swing, and it was observed in computer laboratory at a university. Normally neutral voltage should be within 0.5 volt with respect to the ground. So this is the neutral voltage swing waveform transient. So it is very less we can examine, and it is examined in the laboratory. It is examined in the laboratory, computer laboratory at a university. So now sixth one is the sudden application of the voltage. Application of the voltage. So first rise time transients are produced when voltage is suddenly applied to a load. Voltage is applied to the sudden applied to a load. So an example of the figure 3.24. So an example of 480 volt being applied to primary of the power distribution transformer. And typically waveform characteristics include first rise time and ringing due to the inductance and capacitance of the load circuitry. Normally power systems should ride through such occurrence, but if the load circuit includes capacitor bank or power supplies with the capacitors, large inrush currents may be produced with the possible overcurrent protection operations. And in situation where the capacitors have an initial charge present, some overvoltage event may be produced. So this is for the sudden application of the voltage. So zero voltage is there, by after giving sudden application of voltage, this kind of transient will occur in the power system. And the seventh one is self-produced transient. Self-produced transient. So some machine by nature generate transient that can affect the machine operation if they contain sensitive circuit. So figure 3.25 shows self-produced transient. Self-produced transient. Now this is the end of chapter number 3, and in this chapter the important questions are question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which was asked many times in previous GTU examination, and the weightage of this chapter is 10% from the whole syllabus. So thank you all.